ago, I was at Diamond Wars in Arkansas, and there was a bookseller, and I bought a used, very old, crumbly book, in which I found a lot of strange stories. And I found one that was called Mahashada. I had no idea who Mahashada was, so I had to do some research. And I found out it's a Tibetan tale from long, long ago. It was first printed in Hindu in 635. So this is originated before the time of Christ. It seems that one day the king took his wives, plural, into a park in the forest, and they were sporting and just having a good time. And the birds were flying around, and there were monkeys cavorting about the trees. And while they were at play, one of his wives had this wonderful pearl necklace that was worth several $100,000 pieces of money. And she took it off and put it on a tree branch as they were in sporting and forgot. And when they went back to the palace, it was midnight when she remembered that her necklace was on the tree. So they sent out people the next morning to fetch it, and they could not find the necklace anywhere. But there happened to be a baker who had gone into the forest in search of the food that was left over. This is how he ate. And they immediately arrested him. He said, I don't have a necklace. I didn't see any necklace. I'm innocent. But the guards beat him with their fists and with stakes and threw him in prison. Well, after a day in prison, when no food or water came, the baker, who was quite clever, realized he had to do something or he was going to starve to death. So he called the guards and he accused a merchant, and the book says such and such a merchant, that he was involved in stealing this necklace also. So they went out, arrested the merchant, and threw him in prison, and put them in wooden fetters. And the old-fashioned fetters fit on your feet. One prisoner had a foot in it, and one had another. So you didn't move without the cooperation of the other. Now the merchant was quite wealthy, and he had his wife bring in food every day for him. And the baker said, "Please, may I have a share of the food, for I am quite hungry." And the merchant said, "No, why would I share my food? You had me arrested." So, no food was to come. A little while later, the merchant said, "Oh, I need to get up and walk around a little bit." And the baker said, "No, I'm not letting you get up. You wouldn't share food." And the merchant said, "You're right. We shouldn't either one be here, but we'll have to cooperate." So they got up and moved around the prison. And they soon found, they were tired. They did have food to eat, and the baker said, I eat better in prison than I do when I beg in the city. So they asked for a lute player, and it said he had been part of this scheme. And they of course named the lute player. He was a very well-known lute player. So he came to prison too. And life wasn't too bad with the food and the music, but after a while they thought, we've got to do something because there's no way out and we have not done anything. So they thought of a man named Lusala, and he was a minister of the king, and he was known as a very clever man who had great powers of deductive reasoning. So they accused his son of being one of the people involved in this robbery. So they threw him in prison. And as they well knew, once the father heard that his son was in prison, he knew his son would fret himself to death. So he came to the king and said, "Why are these people in prison, and what had they done?" They told him of what they thought had happened and how this necklace worth hundreds of thousands pieces of money had disappeared, and he went out. He asked all the questions you would ask. And they took him to the very scene. He asked to be taken to the scene. And as he looked around, he noticed the monkey. And there was one female monkey right above the tree where they had been. And she would imitate their actions. So that the monkey would go like this. And Musadada said, all right. And he told the king, none of these men were involved in the robbery. Let them all go on my word. I will stand in front of them. So they released the prisoners. And then he had the king and his wives go back with him into the forest, the park and the forest. And he asked for one of the wives to have on a special necklace, one that glittered. And then he asked his wife to stand in the area near this tree and to dance. So she did, and they watched the female monkey. It would move as if it were dancing. And pretty soon the monkey put on the necklace high up in that tree, and they were dancing. And nothing was happening to the necklace, it was staying around the monkey's neck. So he told the wife, bob your head, put your head down as you dance. So she started doing a dance where her head was going down. The monkey imitated, and the necklace fell off, and they had it. And according to all the copies of the legend that I found, it simply said, and the king rewarded Hashida with many pieces of property.